Oh, hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Cinema Smoketography. I'm your friendly neighborhood hookologist. Joining me as always is,
Producer Matt and Isaac, what's going on, everybody?
guys, we need to have a serious talk here.
Okay.
All right, so did this fucking movie need to be made? Like, did we need a second Joker movie? Especially if they're gonna make him sad Arthur Fleck the whole time.
Hmm. So I'm assuming you
I,
didn't like this movie.
okay, so I like the idea of it. I like the fact that they're gonna have a courtroom drama musical. I think that's a great concept in concept. It did not work as well as I wanted it to.
The execution.
Thank you. The execution was bad. I like I like the characters. I don't like that Harley Quinn was a villain because I think it just kind of underwrites everything she's about as she's come from so much.
What did you think of all the singing?
I love that it's off key. I
Huh?
love that it's not. I love that it's not like super. You know, I think everyone keeps saying like Lady Gaga was toned down. I like that aspect of it, right? I like that he's not a very good singer. He just feels like he is. But did we need to hear this whole song every single time?
I like, I would have liked, preferred, actually. I would have preferred for Arthur Fleck in IRL to never sing at all. But the dream sequences when he's the Joker to
Mhm.
be only the singing.
Hey, that would have been a good one. That would have been good. And him be like a phenomenal singer too.
Because Joaquin Phoenix actually can sing. You've seen Walk the Line. You've seen, like,
Exactly. So I think what I will say because of that, that did kind of make me like it a little bit. Not to say this his singing was bad. Well, I mean it's bad, but I think that's kind of cool that he did it. He was just offbeat. He's supposed to be that awkward kind of. I'm
the thing
not.
is that my only issue with my grapple with the singing was the fact that at certain times it took away from certain scenes that didn't have to have singing. Like I get the concept, I understand the whole thing of like these people are utterly fucking crazy. So them breaking out in the song doesn't sound all that unrealistic.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But my problem is that the fact that my biggest gripe with it also is the fact that everything was good like in a sense of like where they were going with this, what they were trying to do, how they were portraying the manipulative version of having Harley be the one manipulating Arthur instead of the other way around
Sure.
was a different take on Harley Quinn that I actually thought was pretty solid. I thought it was a different because like she's batshit crazy in her own fucking way too.
Oh yeah, she definitely is. I like how they kept her origin story kind of similar to how it is in the comic books. That she went into Arkham, to understand the psyche and everything. And for
They
her
didn't
to be a
actually
rich
say
kid,
that, but yeah. Yeah, but
yeah,
she didn't
no,
actually say
but
that. Did she?
no, she didn't. She's not a doctor in this at all.
No.
But I like how they kept that part of the origin kind of like accurate.
Hmm.
And then for her to be a rich kid, just to go in there, kind of just ruins everything for Arthur because he hated those people.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where it's like there was like this fine line of with when it comes to like now watching like after seeing this movie and seeing how they executed the ending to this whole movie
Mhm.
and then seeing what happened after he gave up
Mhm.
essentially spoilers if you haven't seen the movie um I didn't like it basically to me the last 30 minutes of this movie was like an entire slap to the face to what the first movie tried to do in a
Yeah,
sense
dude.
of
Like, so they
yeah.
wanted to make you regret like liking that movie in general. Like they were like, yeah, you shouldn't idolize this guy. Like this is not something you should be like
I mean, well, idolize is a
liking.
weird term, but feel bad for him. Because in reality, you feel bad for Arthur in this movie in a sense of like some of the things that he's doing. And then like you come to the realization that this entire time he is like pleasing the crowd they want him to be Joker, but in
Mhm.
reality, he was never really Joker to begin with. He was playing
Mhm.
the Joker
Because he's a
because in the
comedian.
first movie,
He was an aspiring comedian, and the thing just
yeah,
went bad.
yeah, and in the first movie, you see what his life transpired as it got progressively worse in his psyche, and he just snapped. He literally just snapped in a span of like a week of
Yeah,
everything that happened. And he
just one bad
basically
day,
just all it took was one bad day and he snapped and he became an icon because of it.
right? And he
But the pressure of it all, the feeling of it all, the regret, everything was there. You could tell. He could barely remember what happened because he did break. And now he's just pleasing to the audience of everybody else, telling him, "You're the Joker. I want you as the Joker because the Joker's this. We don't give a shit about Arthur Fleck." And they said it themselves in the courtroom scene. Nobody gave a shit about Arthur Fleck. They only gave a shit about the Joker.
Mhm.
So and so to him basically give up, saying that he doesn't want to do this anymore, kind of defeats the whole fucking purpose of what the first movie was trying to do in the first place.
and I this is kind of like my thing with it. Like they didn't need a second Joker movie. That was just a
I
group.
also hated the ending.
Oh yeah, how they made Heath Ledger like made hint that this is going to be the Heath Ledger Joker.
No, that's not entirely true. What I got from that was that anybody could be the Joker.
Exactly.
So,
That
in a
it's
sense of how, you want to know how I would have preferred this ending? It should have ended like 15 minutes of prior to what happened with the bomb scene. So, you know when the place explodes and he's looking and he
mhm.
escapes, right?
Yeah,
And you know how they showed whether or not they were going to say he was guilty and Harley was holding a gun? I would have preferred her to blow her brains out and then Arthur come into the apartment and find her there. And then it's like some Romeo and Juliet type shit. And he
and
fucking
then
blows his heads
he
out.
yeah, that would have been a good ending actually. That's
Because, you know,
that's a
like some
better that's a way better ending.
tragic, mad love. It's mad love, tragic. Because you're supposed to feel bad for these people and you're rooting for them to try to see where this is going to go. But instead, they decide to take an approach where she's just like, "You're not who I thought you were, who I wanted you to be." And she
Right.
just leaves. And I
Yeah.
hated that. And then him just to go back to his sad poor excuse of a life just to get fucking killed in the end for the purpose of the fact that he disappointed so many people and killed by a guy who essentially well basically what they did with that ending was the original ending they were going to do in the first place for the first Joker.
Right. Someone else takes the mantle, not Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, so because originally the original ending for the Joker was supposed to be him grabbing a piece of glass and sharding a permanent smile. But Christopher Nolan told Todd Phillips he did not want him to do that because it was too similar to Heath Ledger's Joker.
Hmm.
And then finding out everything going on behind the scenes later on with the whole Todd Phillips shit that's going on with Joker 2, given the fact that he
Hmm.
literally did not give a shit about what DC wanted, or it was all Warner Brothers property entirely of its own thing. He didn't do any,
Right.
he didn't even listen to James Gunn. He didn't do any of the listen to any of that shit. He wanted to do whatever the fuck he wanted. They let him do whatever he wanted,
They
and he
just gave him a
still ended
blank
up
check.
they
Gave
gave him a
him
blank, yeah, pretty much, and do whatever the fuck you want without any guidelines or anybody. And you know what though? If this movie had been screen tested before this movie was released, I really don't think it wouldn't have came out.
it would have been way different. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And so
Because
it
like I
wasn't
said,
screen
like
tested.
yeah, like it's crazy. Like they're like, yeah, just do whatever. He just did whatever he wanted. If we
Yeah,
had testing and stuff like that, like we probably would have had a totally different movie. Like I was excited to see it, and you know me, I like a good musical. In the Heights was good. I really love La La Land, and like I was excited to see him. Like, okay, we know there are musical like villains in the DC universe, right? So maybe the Joker would be, thematic and have like a whole big ass scene, but it wasn't like that. It was lackluster to
it
say
was
the
just
least.
I really, really wanted to try to like this movie. And the more I watched it, the more I realized why people hated it. And I understood why they hated it because they also just didn't understand it. And you know
Right.
what though? At the end of the day, I feel like this movie is going to be the most misunderstood movie to ever come out because it's beautifully filmed.
Right.
Great acting, great writing, just the execution of certain things that didn't make sense nor shouldn't have been in there in the first place.
Right.
But overall, like this, I think this eventually this movie, I think, and like maybe 10 years down the line, will become a cult classic.
It has the potential to be like it's gonna be like one of those things like, oh, let's just rewatch it and people are gonna end up loving it. Right
Yeah, it's
now,
like one
it's
of those
just not like
movies. Yeah, and to be honest, right now, I feel like it's in that whole agenda of social media where like it's cool to fucking hate this movie
right.
when you don't even understand what this movie was trying to do. And you know what, though, at the end of the day, I think this movie was purposely done the way it was. So like it knew exactly what it was supposed to be.
Mhm.
I think they were with the intentions of the fact that this movie wasn't going to do good, and they just said, "Fuck it."
Yeah, yeah, no, they were like, you know what? Let's just do what we do best, right? And
Like,
and that's what we got because the
like
acting was great. Like the
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just okay.
I'm like I'm like right now. I feel like I need to see it again so I can try to understand it because I'm watching it like in nostalgia goggles of the original Joker. Like I like that movie, right? Love that movie. So I'm like thinking I'm like, all right, it needs to hold up to the original. Because let's face it, most sequels do not, you know, aren't as good as the first one, with a few exceptions, especially in comic book movies. Right? There's only a handful of sequels that are actually done right. First ones that come to mind: Spider-Man 2, um, every Deadpool movie, and what's the other one that I? Oh, and The Dark Knight. Right? Sequels that just do really well, and then this one's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like I said, I really, really wanted to love this movie, but it was really difficult. They were making it more and more difficult. It's like the fan four stick thing all over again, where the first hour and a half was really good, and then they got to the last 45 minutes, and next thing you know, it's a completely different fucking movie.
It's just like I think this movie had an identity crisis. Like, do we want it to be a musical?
Yeah,
We want it to
it
be a
like
courtroom
lost
drama.
itself. It lost itself about as much as Arthur lost himself being the Joker.
Do you think that's the point? Do you
You
think that's
know,
what they were going for?
honestly, I don't even know because it makes me mad though when a director comes out and says that Arthur Fleck was never the Joker to begin with.
Yeah, like that's. But he wasn't. He was never the Joker. Like even
He
in
was
the first
always
one,
Arthur Fleck. He was
he was
always
all
Arthur Fleck. Yeah,
he was just playing the part,
yeah.
right? Like with the Murray show, and then like like all the callbacks to the original one. Like everyone's banking off the original tragedy of Arthur Fleck shooting Murray Franklin.
Yeah, and then like the insinuating of him being getting basically sexually assaulted by those guards, pretty much putting him back where he felt small than he did before, like putting him back in that mindset of depressed, just want to die.
He didn't progress as a character, he regressed as a
Yeah, it's
character
like
because
I honestly I
you
hate you know
see
what's
the
crazy?
descent.
I think it's honestly fucking crazy that I loved every single character but Arthur Fleck in this entire movie.
Okay, do you think we needed Harvey Dent as the prosecutor? I don't think so. I do not think we needed I'm not sorry, Arthur Fleck. I don't think we needed Harvey Dent.
The timing of it all is weird though. Harvey Dent's supposed to be much older, most be much younger, about the same age as Bruce.
Right, and they're supposed to be best friends.
Yeah.
Right,
So
and
like,
then
because
he's
Thomas Wayne exists in this in this universe, before this takes place before the Batman stuff ever happens.
before Batman. Yeah,
So him being a young DA already or a young lawyer or
it's
whatever the fuck, like it doesn't make sense.
it
And then
doesn't
them doing the
that's
little
what I'm saying.
them
Like,
kind of insinuating the whole Two-Face thing when they get caught up in the explosion.
which isn't Harvey Dent's origin, how he got to become Two Face. It's they took certain liberties with some of these characters, right? And like this is not how it's supposed to be. So I think like for comic book fans, like the backstory of these characters, and they're just kind of shitting on it from in my perspective, right? Like they're just throwing it all away. Like, okay, so in the first one they got Martha Wayne and Thomas Wayne getting shot at the end. Okay, sure. Bruce Wayne's in it. Sure, why not? This one we get characters that are two already way older than they're supposed to be. Harley's not even supposed to really be with this kind of Joker in general. I get it. They Joker, Harley Quinn, they go together, right? Why not bring her in? That one makes sense. Harvey Dent is something we don't need.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no, like it literally like the end of the Joker is where the whole Batman origin starts, you know? So like it
Right.
makes sense. But then having Harvey Dent be already like in his early adulthood, like where Bruce's are only like 8, doesn't make sense.
Or what wouldn't it could what if it was Harvey Dent's dad, right? We already have Thomas
Yeah, if they
Wayne
had said like Harvey Dent Sr.,
or something like or even just not even Harvey, like Dave Dent or something, whatever. Whoever I don't know. I'm not very big on DC. I don't even know if Harvey Dent even had parents. I just think he's a person who just kind of sprouted in the world. But you know what I mean? Like if you had his dad be the prosecutor and then just die and have a two-faced kind of representation and be like, oh, his son's gonna end up being like that. That would have been pretty cool, right? It would have been different. But you
yeah,
don't need Dent. You don't need Harvey. No.
yeah. It like this movie
Okay.
was just okay, just okay. I
It's kind of
It
like
didn't.
it's
It
mid
also
for
didn't need
sure.
to be as long as it was.
Oh, dude, it dragged on, right?
Yeah, it was
It was
getting it got kind of boring at times too.
almost passed out.
You know, but like I think another watch
Okay.
might be better at some point. I probably never watch this movie again until it comes out on DVD.
I'm not spending more money at the theater to go see this. 100% not doing that. But okay. So now let's address something. Who let's take Heath Ledger out of this, right? Because we already know everyone loves Heath Ledger as the Joker, right? That's mainly most people's number one picks.
Mm.
In who has the best portrayal of the Joker?
Jack Nicholson
Jack Nicholson was a good one. I'm gonna say Mark Hamill's Joker. The animated Joker is probably still my favorite Joker next to Heath Ledger.
it doesn't count though. It's animated.
That you know what? I'll argue with that because the Mask of the Phantasm was a blockbuster movie.
It's still animated.
It does it matter?
If we're speaking from a live, if that's the case, then you would have to put like like the rest of the other Jokers that we've had also up there with other people. So you can't. It's like saying, okay, what's the list of every single Joker animated version? Mark Hamill would be number one clearly.
100%. All right, fine, fine, fine.
But if we're talking from live action point of views of only like the amount of Jokers that we've only had Jared Leto, we've had Jack Nicholson, we've had Joaquin Phoenix, and we've had Heath Ledger.
No, no, I'm talking what the super old
Oh,
school one.
and
Caesar
and
Romero.
Cesar
Caesar,
Romero.
okay, excluding Heath Ledger Joker because we both agree that's probably what our favorite. That well, he's definitely my favorite live action Joker, right? Who has the best portrayal? Because it who has a worse portrayal actually? Let's he Joaquin Phoenix's Arthur Fleck or Jared Leto's Joker.
Which version of Jared Leto though?
The one from the Suicide Squad.
Oh, that what? Well, then what about comparing the one from Justice League Snyder Cut?
You know what? But that's another one. Like it's that we can count those as two different people
Well,
because
actually,
that
technically, there's three different versions of the Joker. Actually, the real version is the one from the David Ayer cut that we've never seen. That apparently was like really fucking good.
but from what we've seen, let's just talk about what we've seen, right?
Mhm.
Because you're right because that haircut is supposed to have a way different Joker than what we got.
Which supposedly was supposed to be on par with Heath Ledger's Joker.
I would love to have seen that. I'm still waiting for the haircut to come out. We
Yeah,
got the Snyder cut.
apparently it was a completely different fucking movie. Like,
I'm very interested to see how that was.
yeah, like completely different fucking movie. You know who the original fucking villain was supposed to be? Fucking Steppenwolf.
No fucking way.
Yeah,
You're lying,
yeah.
really?
So think of it this way. So what happened was like the original one was Steppenwolf, and then it was
Uh-huh.
supposed to be Steppenwolf was supposed to be the villain.
No way.
Yeah,
That's crazy to me.
yeah,
Oh, side
Steppenwolf.
note, I got Aries fixed finally.
Nice.
Yeah, I went in and got her like treated as like a outdoor cat, like a feral cat. Got her fixed, and she is in pain. They clipped her ear to make it seem like she was already out there. I'm like, oh, I feel so bad.
They didn't check if she was chipped.
Oh, they did. She's not chipped.
So you chipped her?
No,
No.
no, but no, she's poor little bears. She's not squeaking that much today.
I got a kitten.
You got a kitten now?
Mm.
Oh my god, I'm an uncle.
But honestly, man, like I don't know. Like if I were to rank them, I obviously Jack Nicholson's would be number one for me.
You know, I like Caesar. I grew up watching that '60s Batman movie a lot, so Caesar
I would say
Romero is
Caesar.
probably my. I think Caesar Romero goes above Jack Nicholson for me.
No way, dude.
For me personally,
Okay, for you
yes, but
personally, okay, I get it. But
yeah,
now,
but from your point of view, I see it like Jack Nicholson Joker is a better Joker, right? For sure. But for me, it goes Romero,
but you got to think
Nicholson,
about it though. Each iteration of
Snyder
the
stuff.
Joker, each iteration of the Joker has been different versions of the Joker we've seen in the past comic books. Jack Nicholson's is the gangster version of
Yeah,
the Joker. Caesar Romero's more of the class, like
right.
the class clown, you know,
Yeah,
comedy. Fucking the Joker from Heath Ledger is like more of the fucking anti, like whatever it's called. What's it called?
the anarchist.
Anarchist, yeah, the anarchist. And then like Jared Leto's was like a combination of all of them.
Yeah. You know what I would really want to see portrayed one day is that we get the three Jokers storyline in some kind of movie.
Maybe.
But to have that, we got to get Red Hood, we got to get Red Robin, we got to have all the other like Bat family involved. Right, big. But that story alone, have you ever read that book
Yeah, I have it.
or read that series? Oh,
Yeah, I
dude,
have
that's
it.
a good series.
It's a good book.
I had comic story and read it to me while I was going to bed once. That's a good story.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah, that dude. That's how I can congest all my comic book reading now. Like I listen to that, especially because I drive for Uber. I don't want to listen to music all day, so I have comic
Yeah.
books read to me. But no, that's
I don't really
crazy. I mean,
got much
this
left to say about this one.
neither do I. Like it's one of those movies where like I stress that we did not need a second one. Open to it was not needed.
No,
Oh man.
no, not at all.
Oh, you know what, guys? Oh, Isaac.
Yeah.
Um, on the 23rd, you know, I'm going to Disneyland. Right, I'm going to hang out with my friend Palomi. She's supposed. I think she said she wants to do a podcast, and I have the cameras with me. Not the cameras, but the microphones.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're going to be busy that day because I know you have school.
What day is the 23rd?
The 23rd, so Wednesday. It's going to be late too because I'm going to Disneyland that day.
I think I can do it.
Okay, we'll figure out something to talk about. But you know what?
All right.
If she is doing one, I think this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a. You're gonna be the referee in this one,
Okay.
right? And it's gonna be Harry Potter versus Star Wars.
Oh, because I'm familiar with both.
Yeah, and you know, like she's like a diehard like Harry Potter fan. I'm a super Star Wars nerd, so it's gonna be like Battle of the Ages. You're pretty in between, so I think it would be really good if we did something like that
Okay.
to try to see like, and then you make the ruling class like, all right, I think Tommy made a better point. Think Palomi made a better point. That's
Okay.
something I think we should do. If we don't do
Okay.
like an actual movie like to talk about, I think that's what we should do.
That sounds like fun. The first
That does
debate
sound like fun.
on
Second debate.
oh
Second debate.
oh you're right, second debate. The
Se-
second debate in the last like five
In our
years.
yeah, no, because we did what we do. We did fucking Jurassic World versus Top Gun, and I lost that one. I'm not gonna lie. I'll admit when I was wrong. Top Gun was a way better movie. I
Top
actually
Gun
just
is
watched that
fucking
with I just
Top,
watched that with my mom not that long ago.
Top Gun Maverick is peak, man.
Yeah, dude, it so many callbacks.
Only sequel that's ever been as good as the original.
Oh, for real. That's 100%. Didn't it do better than the
Yeah, it's
original?
like it's honestly, I think Top Gun Maverick is way better than the first one. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Top Gun, but I think Top Gun
Yeah.
Maverick is like a perfect fucking movie. There's like
Oh
nothing wrong
yeah.
with it at all.
No, it was a good movie. I didn't watch the full thing because like I was going to bed, but from what I watched, it's like I couldn't find like anything wrong.
Oh, it's
I felt
fucking
more like
top tier movies of all time is Top Gun Maverick.
yeah, that's a solid one. But guys, be prepared. Remember 500 likes. I still watch Star Trek. We haven't gotten 500 likes yet, so my life has not gotten terrible.
You gotta pick something else
And
too
then you
that
know
you don't
what?
like.
Oh my god! You know it's crazy that because there's not many other friend. Oh, you know what? Like, I kind of want to. I want to say the only other franchise I can't stand, and I think it's only because of Jessica Rabbit Romero. Is Harry Potter. Those are the only two franchises like I can physically can't stand.
How can you hate Harry Potter, dude?
I think it's because like I dated her and it just I hated like after the whole aftermath. I think that's why I just stopped. Like I never was really into Harry Potter, anyways. Like I
Dude, I
watched
love
the
Harry
movies. I did.
Potter. I don't know, man. I might purposely like make you lose because I know a lot about more Harry Potter. I like Harry Potter.
I know you're a jack for one.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be non-biased.
You have to be non-biased. You're the referee.
All right. Well, I got nothing else left to say about this movie. Like I said, guys, I wanted to love it so much, but I just couldn't. It was hard.
I
They
want
made
to
it
like
difficult
it.
every single time. There's a lot
It
of good
it.
stuff, a lot of cool, beautiful visuals. Everything was great.
I
It's just
like
certain
the.
executions was just not there.
Oh, okay. Before us completely just shitting on this movie, let's take a couple minutes to talk about what we liked about it.
I just
Because
said,
there is, I know what you said, but I like the aesthetic they went with trying to do Chicago for DC. Like that's what I thought it was. Like I said, I like the concept of it. I think it was like a good idea. If it was executed a little better and had some screen testing, it probably would have been a way better movie. Like I think like I would love to see a comic book musical movie done right. I think that's something that would be really fucking cool.
yeah,
Get Lin Manuel Miranda to write some songs. Get an original in there. We'd be solid.
for sure.
Other than that, guys, that's all we have to say about that. Until next time, keep smoking.
Peace.